Second thing, 50% fewer components. Electric vehicles has not just lesser moving part, it has just generally lower number of components than a petrol vehicle. What this translates into is it implies a lower capex for assembly, it implies a faster assembly and hence a lower assembly cost, a benefit that again gets passed on to the customers. Electric vehicles manufactured at scale will cost lesser to manufacture and assemble than a typical petrol vehicle. And the fourth vertical is sustainability. Today, a lot of you might actually have this question, so we're sort of preempting this. We charge electric vehicles using the Indian grid and it's not all clean, so what's the point? There is a huge point. Even if you use our Indian average grid, which is almost 70% thermal power generation and coal power generation and only 30% is renewable, despite using that grid, the emissions of running an ATHER 450, which is a pretty powerful scooter, compared to a typical 110cc petrol scooter, almost a 3 times difference. And this number will only keep improving as our grid gets cleaner and cleaner every year. We are adding 150 gigawatt hour of renewables capacity over the next 4 to 5 years. That will make this number even better. This number will go down something like 15 to 18 grams per kilometer over the next few years. So whatever way you cut it, and by the way, if you use solar to power your electric vehicles, it's zero. So the emissions, the CO2 emissions from a typical petrol vehicle, electric vehicle are going to be dramatically lower, even if you use the Indian national grid. So you don't have to worry about it. Second thing, and this is actually very less discussed, so we wanted to add this here, lesser heat generated. So what you don't realize is that a typical petrol combustion engine will have a 25 to 28% efficiency on average. A typical electric drivetrain will be 85 to 90% efficient. What this means is that a petrol scooter will burn off 70% of its energy in heat. A typical electric motor will burn off 10% of its energy in heat. That extra efficiency difference, where does it go? It goes in heating the engine. It goes in heating the vehicle. And that heat over millions and millions of vehicles on our roads today adds up. So today our cities have two problems. First, we are emitting more carbon, which increases the average temperature. But the second reason, which is not discussed enough, is that we are heating our vehicles like crazy. All those vehicles, millions of vehicles on the road, add up a lot of heat and actually heat up a city significantly. Tomorrow, if magically all vehicles became electric, our cities would immediately cool down. And that's a very big impact that is actually not discussed enough. You take all these points together, electric basically implies a better product, a better cost of ownership, it can be produced at a better cost structure, and it is far more sustainable for the environment. It's not a surprise that with all these factors, the government is not starting to jump. Right? Many of these points were not necessarily true 5 or 10 years back, and hence electric wasn't probably very opportune at that time. But with all these factors coming in around the battery, around the kind of efficiencies we have reached, and the kind around the level of maturity of our electronics, all of this put together is making electric extremely lucrative for the Indian market. Which is why the policy push from DHI, NITI Aayog, everywhere is to get our industry to move away from petrol-driven vehicles to electric vehicles. Because with those factors, customers are going to jump in and they are going to start preferring electric vehicles at a bigger scale. So it is important that we as an industry go over to building electric vehicles very rapidly. So that was a little bit of a primer around why electric makes sense. It is not just a push that one or two companies are trying to do. It is actually very, very sensible for the market and it makes a lot of sense for consumers.